Yeah.
We go to the formation and existence of subculture. So when we talk about subculture, we're talking about a group within a large culture that has its own norms and values. That is what makes it a subculture. So there's a culture, there's the main culture, but a culture inside that culture, within that culture, is called a subculture. So it has its own norms and values. But it doesn't mean that because it has its own norms and values, it must not conform with the main culture. No, you have to conform because that is the main culture. So non-conformity, if there's no conformity from a member of a subculture, it is punishable.
So subculture is non-conformity. That's it.
No, most of the time, based according to Marxists, they feel subculture.
Yeah.
They feel subculture is rebellious. That is for
Yeah.
Marxists. But for functionalists, they don't see it that way. They see it as being important, especially from the transition of childhood to adolescence. When we get there, you understand more.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about here is that subculture should not bring about non-conformity. That is my point.
Yes,
it's subculture. Yes, you have your practices, you have your ways, you have your norms, your values, but it does not make you to become non-conform. It does not make you to act deviant to the main culture. That is the point. Okay. So we have different types of subculture. We have youth subculture. So we're starting with youth subcultures. Okay. So for youth subcultures, I wrote, this is a subculture. This is a subculture. This is a subculture of young adults that is usually distinguishable by style, dress, and musical preference. So we call it youth subculture based on how they dress, how they look, their musical preference.
Musical.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are what attributed or what the features of youth subculture is about.
Yes.
So for youth subculture, now we have to go to the views of different sociologists about youth subculture. So I'm starting with the functionalist. So functionalist view of subculture. Here, for functionalists, they see it as a transition between childhood to adolescence. As a child, then you become an adult. So that is how functionalists see youth subculture. They feel it is important, it is functional. So for youth subculture, they said youth subculture offer a kind of safety valve, as growing up is a difficult period, but youth subculture can help adolescents manage it. So they feel it's difficult growing up. From the transition between a childhood to become an adult, it's not something that is easy. So with youth subculture, it becomes a safety valve. That means you can be a member of a youth subculture to help you grow.
Yes.
That is what they are trying to say there. So they see it as functioning, that it's helping the society. So youth subculture is functioning in the society as it functions in the life of that individual. Do you get youth subculture there? So again, they said young people need they said young people need to develop autonomy and independence from their parents. So they turn to the support of their own age group. Because you are growing older, you are going to that stage of adolescence. You're becoming adult. Mm-hmm. So you might want to develop autonomy, like doing things on your own, having that independence. So this independence will not just come easy. So it means you need to rely on your peer group who have passed that stage you are about to get to help your growth, to develop your own autonomy too. Do you get it? So these are what functionalists are saying. These are their own points of view, that youth subculture is functioning in the society. It's helping the society. Mm-hmm. It's helping the child also. That the child that wants to grow can also rely not on his parent anymore or her parent, can also rely on his age peer group for growth. That is what they are saying there. Is it clear?
Yes.
So again, they said, I summarized them anyway. So I wrote again, functionalists also use the idea of subculture to explain the high rate of crimes by young boys. So joining the subculture is functional for individuals whose route to success seems to be blocked. So through youth subculture, they may gain recognition and status, allowing them opportunity to succeed. So what we're saying is this. When we talk about crime rate is one part among the youths. Yes or no?
Yeah.
This might be as a result of them not being able to attain educational qualification. So they don't have jobs. If they don't have jobs, they can't get work. They can't get a good paying job.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So because they can't get a good paying job, they are idle. Then they can turn into crime. But with youth subculture, if there's youth subculture, according to functionalists, youth subculture might help them to integrate into the society by giving them status and recognition. So because I have my friends that we are peer group, they are doing well in the society and they have a group, I could be part of the group to help me. So being part of the group, they might be able to help me with a very good job. Then I could be successful too. Do you get the point?
Yes, yes.
So according to functionalists, they believe youth subculture can reduce the rate of crime in the society, especially from the youth. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So that is functionalist view or perspective or perception or perspective regarding youth subculture. Then let's go to the Marxists. For the Marxists, your friends, they saw it as rebellious by working class youth against capitalism. So for Marxists, they believe youth subculture emerged because they want to rebel against the capitalists, the bourgeois, those that own property. Do you understand? The ruling class.
Ruling class, okay.
Yeah, so they believe with youth subculture, they can rebel against capitalists. That is why youth subculture is being formed, according to capitalists. Did you get it? Because it's talking about conflicts.
Yeah, conflict.
Okay, so the young people were reacting against the system that offered them little. So they believe Marxists believe that there's youth subculture because the youth, the younger ones, are reacting against the ruling class who have failed them through the school system. Remember we talked about the school system?
Yeah.
That the ruling class use the school system to fail the working class children. As a result, they cannot find good jobs that would move them up the ladder of the social class. So that's why, according to Marxists, they are rebelling. They become rebellious.
Like a revenge or something like that.
Yeah. So they become rebellious to the working to the upper class or the ruling class.
Yeah.
So that is the working class. But what happens to youth subculture of the middle class? You know, the middle class is in between the working class and the ruling class. They are in between. So they are average. They are above average anyway.
Yeah.
So for the youth, they don't act the same way as the working class. Why? Because they believe that if they attain education, qualification, and career, they could climb up the social ladder. They believe they can get to becoming the upper class. Yeah. So as a result of that, they don't go into conflict. Rather, they put effort to attain more education qualification so that they can climb up the social ladder. So that's the difference between working class youth subculture and middle class youth subculture. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So we go to other subculture. No, now I go to, well, yeah. So we go to other subculture. So according to Marxists, for youth subculture, what they are saying is, you know, Marxists focus is always on conflict. So they believe youth subculture emerged or was formed because of rebellion against the ruling class, the capitalist. So for the working class student, they form youth subculture because they want to rebel against the capitalist, based on the fact that they get little from the capitalist. All they could get is peanuts. And they work, the school system has put them in a situation that they have failed in educational part. So they don't have qualification that would enable them to climb up the social ladder. Yes. So they cannot climb the social ladder. That is how they feel. As a result, the only thing they could do is to rebel against the owners of properties, the capitalists. That is the working class children. So they form youth subculture as a result of wanting to rebel against capitalists. Yes. But for the middle class children, they also form youth subculture, but their youth subculture is focused on development. They want to develop their career path. They want to have more qualifications because they believe having more qualifications and developing their career path would allow them to climb up the social ladder.
Yes.
Do you get the difference now? So the middle class student, they form youth subculture. The working class student also form youth subculture. But for the working class student, they want to rebel. The middle class student think they can also be there at the top by having more qualification.
Yes.
Is it clear now?
Yeah.
So we go to other subcultures. For other subcultures, for other subcultures,
Yes.
here we have religious. For religious, here I wrote, many religious beliefs and practices fit into the main culture. But whichever one that places strong demands on members can be seen as a subculture. Religious practices like Muslim, Islam, and Christian, they still, when you look at them, they are still culture. Yes or no?
Yes.
But any part of that religion that places high demand or strong demands on its members, aside what the main culture is talking about, is seen as a subculture. You know, we have Islam.
Yeah, Islam, yeah.
So there are different groups of Islamic elites.
Yeah.
So those ones that become like radical, so they will be seen as subculture. Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So it should be normal. But if it now becomes a strong demand from their leaders, then it will not be seen as a main culture. It will rather be seen as a subculture. So the main culture is Islam now. But what about other Islamic groups that are placing strong demands on their members, aside what Islam is talking about, will be considered as a subculture?
So you're saying that the Islamic groups.
Just example here.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Like the religious groups.
Religion is a culture.
Yeah, I know it's a culture, yeah.
But those part of the religion that you practice or you believe in start making strong demands on you as a member that is not what others are asking for, becomes a subculture.
Oh, okay.
You know, when they say you have to make your salat 5 times daily, it's normal. So when other things are attached to it, they become subculture.
Okay.
That's religious. Then we have ethnic minority group. For ethnic minority group, I wrote, these are ethnic groups that are relatively small in numbers compared within the majority in the society. So when we're talking about groups in the society that are relatively small compared to the large group. Example is the immigrant group. The culture of the immigrants. I'm a Nigerian. We have our culture, but our culture is not popular here because we are minority. So the kind of culture we have that we are practicing that is different from the main Libyan culture is seen as a subculture.
Yes.
Do you get that?
Yes.
The third one, class subculture. When we talk about class subculture, we're talking about, according to sociology, sociologists argue that the working class has a set of values and norms that are different from the main culture of the middle class. The middle class. Here, what they are saying is that, like what I said earlier about the working class, I said the working class, the way they act as rebels. That's the working class. They act as rebels, according to Marx. So, because we're talking about other subcultures. So other subcultures could come as a result of class. You know, according to Karl Marx, in every society there is class.
Yes.
That is Karl Marx. So there could be subculture based on class. So when we talk about subculture based on class, we're talking about beliefs, ways of life of working class, ways of life of middle class. So according to sociologists, they believe that the working class have a separate norms and values that is different from the middle class. Look at the working class children, how they behave. Look at the middle class student, how they behave. So if the working class children could behave that way, it means the working class parents will have their own ways to different from the middle class. So that means a subculture can be formed according to class.
Yes.
Clear?
Yeah.
Then we have subculture based on interest. So when we talk about subculture based on interest, here we're talking about what you like, what you are committed to, what you are devoting your time towards.
Yes.
So here I wrote, Members of this type of culture makes it an integral part of their identity. So when we talk about subculture based on interest, it means what I want to be identified with. So it becomes an integral part of me. So we are forming a subculture based on our interests, what we like. It could be politics, it could be social, it could be bodybuilding. Do you get it? So
Yes.
because we have formed an identity that is separated from the main identity, the main culture is a subculture of interest. Is it clear? So these are subcultures of interest. We have religious, which makes religion is a culture. So if demands in the economy, if the demand in the society in that religion aspect is stronger than what it should be, then it becomes a subculture. For ethnic minority group, we're talking about, for example, the immigrants, like I'm a Nigerian.
Yes.
So we have our culture. Our culture is different from those of the Libyan culture.
Yes.
So whatever we practice that is different from yours is a subculture. Then we talk about the class subculture, which means we're talking about how the working class, the values and the norms of the working class, which is different from the values and norms of the middle class. Now, the last one is the subculture based on interest, which means we're talking about what you like, what interests you, what you want to be identified as, that you are devoting your time on. So you are creating a culture, a subculture from the main culture. So these are other subculture. I think they are clear. Okay. That ends subculture.